welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Colleen and this is Lochabay Stitches and this is Flosstube number 11. So we're halfway through March and of course March Madness has already begun and I'm not participating in the Stitchy March Madness because I already have like 500 other things on my plate, so I didn't need to pile on one more. But so I'm declaring my allegiance today, so go green. But however, the way that the brackets lined up, the Spartans, Michigan State, might meet up with Texas, and that's my husband's team. So, and I root for them as well, but when they meet up, or if they meet up, we cannot be friends. So that might not be a very good day in my house if Michigan State meets Texas. And then, of course, it's going to be who wins, who the sore loser is going to be for and pout for the next week. It might be me. It might be my husband. So, you know, you're torn. You know, like I want them both to win, but I'm kind of mad that they both ended up in the same bracket. But, you know, as far as Michigan State goes, I'm excited that they even got in this year because it was close. But we all know what happens with men's basketball or the big dance, that all you got to do is get in and you never know who's going to win it. So I'll be excited to start watching some basketball and hopefully like stitch and watch basketball at the same time. But so this week, I honestly didn't get a lot done this week. I have some things to show. One thing that happened was my bandsaw blade broke. And the perils of living in a small town are that if the stores closest to you don't have what you need, you either have to order it or like kind of make a trek. So probably later today, I have to run and pick up some medicine for our puppy dog. So I'll probably run to the next town farther over. It's probably about 35 miles away. And they have some in stock that fit mine. In the meantime, I did kind of makeshift, got it to work, but the blade that's on there isn't exactly what I should be using. So that being said, but I will show some of the things that I did get done this week. So the first thing I did do that I can knock off my list, or almost off my list, was I finally organized all of my seed beads. So I think if you remember a couple times ago, I think I talked about, I used to have them in the little Tic Tac containers. But the last time we moved, the container got flipped and some of the caps, I guess, didn't go on tight and the beads all spilled out. So that was a huge mess. So I did sacrifice probably a couple different colors because I got sick of sorting beads. So I thought, okay, is this worth like $3 or $4? No. So, but most of them I saved. But so what I ended up using is these little containers, but the lids screw on and off. So that should keep them contained fairly well. And I like that they are contained and I can just pull out each color as I need it and just stick it in the project bag. Because I do use beads a lot. I like to sub out, so like if there's confetti stitches in a pattern, I will swap out the confetti stitch for a bead just to add some like visual texture to the pattern. But anyway, so this is how the first tray came out. I have these like plastic clear bins that have these drawers. So I won't tip it too far so they don't fall out. But so yeah, so I labeled them all with the number and there they all are. And I do need to get a piece of styrofoam. I just have some bubble wrap in there to kind of keep them in place. But get a piece of foam to like put in that little gap. But yeah, so and I have almost a second tray done. So I only have like one more row. So there's 8 rows total. So almost done with that project. So I'm glad that I like started that and almost finished so I can get that off the checklist of things to do. And the other thing I did was sort my floss. This is that's all that's left of my DMC to sort and rewrap and whatever. So I made a dent in that. So when I say I didn't get a lot done this week, I actually probably did as far as the things that time take. But yeah, so I'm excited. This is all my loose floss that's left to put away. And then I will move on to figuring what I want to do with all my overdyed flosses. So I think I have an idea and I purchased some cardstock to like make some like things to put it on. So I'll kind of probably figure that out in the next week or two and post that. So yeah, so that was one thing. So I guess I'll start with, I got into a discussion that someone was having on one of our boards on Facebook about how like people with the stitching bags or the project bags and such. And people are just asking, well, if you don't use those, what do you use? And I know this is pretty simple. And don't get me wrong, I love the project bags. So, and I will probably either make or invest in a few here shortly, just because they're nice when you're out on the road to have a pretty bag. But for my projects that I have kitted up, I just buy it at the dollar store. You get 3 for $1. That's pretty great, right? So they're just like the clear envelopes. And I kind of wish that they were like the clear plastic, but hey, for 3 for $1. So I have a whole bunch of these, and so I just put like the patterns in there, then drop the floss in the fabric. So pretty much, and then label what it is. If I'm waiting for the pattern, this one I already got the pattern, so I can take it off. But if I'm pulling the floss in fabric and waiting for the pattern, then I just put what it's for. Because I'm sure we all done this. I will pull out stuff sometime and be like, what did I buy this fabric for? Where is this huge piece of fabric? And so then maybe I'll cut it up and use it for something else and then find the pattern that it was supposed to go to. So, but yeah, I switched to this a long time ago. So they all just kind of like stack together, and I have one of those like rolling carts. All the things patiently waiting to be stitched. So yeah, so right now that's what I do as far as like the stuff that's up in the cupboard. That's waiting to be stitched, they just go in these bags. So yeah, super cheap, and you know, for like probably $8, 24 bags, and that's enough projects to be kitted up at once. They're not all full, but I could probably fill them up if I wanted to. You know how that goes, right? So yeah, so as far as stitching this week, I forgot to bring it with me, but I have the top to the Wolf block party that I showed last week, and I did stitch the bottom, and I'll probably stitch Sam's name down on the bottom, but I got that done. But that's just back stitching, so like I said, I left it in the other room. But so I did a very, very bad thing. So I had said at the beginning of the year that I was going to stick to like what I wrote down and whatever. But to my defense, I did pretty good if I lasted until mid-March without breaking my rule. But a friend of mine had posted on Instagram, and I hadn't seen it before. But I saw it, and I was like, I have to join in before it's over and get this. So on Friday night, I purchased The Dreaming Girl from Barbara Anna. It's a stitch along. And they just posted part 4. So there's only one more part to go. So I had to have a marathon stitching session on Saturday to catch up. But this is how far I got. And I'm doing it on a 28 count. It's like a blue linen. But, whoops. That's how far I got so far. So once I fill in under her hair right here, that'll get me off the first page. And then I'll just have to work on the rest that goes over here. But yeah, so she's so pretty, and I just saw it and I was like, I have to do it. So everything else got pushed to the wayside so I could work on this to get it a little bit caught up. So yeah, I think I watched 4 or 5 Harry Potters and just did a stitching marathon. And you know, the husband and the dog kept interrupting me to get fed and go potty, but otherwise I was stitching. So yeah, it was fun. That's a really fun stitch. It actually stitches up pretty fast. And so I'll be excited to finish that one. So that was, I probably should have been working on the other stuff that was on my list, but that took precedence. And then I'm still going to try and hunt down, and I'm not sure if they're going to make any more, but when I was looking around, I missed a kit, and I'll put in the link below. There was a site that was offering a kit from Barbara Anna. It's like 4 girls, and it's the 4 seasons. And they have like patterns in their clothes, and really cute. I would love to do those, but it looks like the kit right now is sold out. So I'm going to go on the hunt for it, or I need to send them a message to see if they're going to be offering more. So we'll see if I get that or not. That might be coming soon. So, and I think today I got our notification we get that informed delivery from the Postal Service. I think my Tudor Bee pattern might be here today. So that might be my next, I don't know, Barbara Anna might go to the wayside so I can start Tudor Bee from the blue flower. So, so little time, so much stitching, right? So, oh, sorry if you hear Sammy's walking around. He's been busy today, so I have to run to the vet in a little while. He's been having belly problems, kind of disinterested in his food, so hopefully we can see what's wrong with him and get him fixed up. So yeah, he's walking. You'll hear him clicking. He's walking around. So the 2 things that I'm going to show today for framing. So again, I didn't get anything completely finished, but I got a whole bunch of things cut out and started. So I think I showed either last time or the time before. This was from the Stitchy Kitty. The dog did it. I think it was from last time. that I'm stitching for the dog. So this is the frame. So it's going to stand up on a table, but it's going to be a little dog house. And I don't know if you can see really close. I've drawn some lines. So what I'm going to do with this part of the frame is under those lines, I'm going to like kind of like gouge under it. And so it kind of looks like shiplap, like boards like overlapping over top of each other. So yes, that'll be the frame. So let's see, it's probably not going to be completely even, but that'll be like the little dog house. And I'll probably paint it red, probably. But so the dog house. And so then on top, I carved, this is going to be like a little, whoops, sorry. Not good. So a little rooster. So there's going to be a little rooster, kind of like the old chicken dog, I guess. And so the little rooster will sit up on top, so that's him. And then I carved him a little watering bowl. So the little watering bowl will sit right in front of his doghouse. So yeah, so I'm going to be super excited to finish getting this carved up and painting up the animals. But I just like to show, even though it's not done, it probably should have gotten done a lot more than I did. But to show kind of how like the animal starts out in a rough shape, and then once it's painted, what it looks like when it's all finished. So yeah, so that's the first one kind of in pieces. And then the second one, and I completely spaced out and forgot that I had started this till I went up in the closet and I was like, oh my gosh, I showed this frame probably 6 weeks ago. But the pattern was from Cherry Hill, and it was the Love You to the Moon and Back. So the frame that I started, it's, I carved, there's going to be like 2 little branches, and those just started out as little dowels. But what I'm going to do is I carved a couple, it's hard to see, hold on, I carved a couple little birds, so the birds will sit out on the branches. So that's the boy bird, no, that was the girl bird, sorry, and that was the boy bird. So a boy and a girl. And then I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to paint the frame. Obviously there'll be like brown twigs, but I'm thinking that I'll stitch, or I'll paint the actual, this part of the frame, kind of that green color. So then like the little birds will sit out here. And then maybe add a heart. Sometimes these things evolve. I start working on them and they kind of just take on a life of their own. So we'll see. It'll be a surprise once I get it all painted and carved up, what it turns out to be. So and then I was thinking that I could make that a stand-up frame too. Maybe the bottom carve like the trunk of the tree, like add that on there. Like I said, these things take on a life of their own sometimes. I just start working and you never know what's going to happen. So today, just to finish out, I've always wanted to share, and I keep kind of forgetting, but don't want to ever make these too long, how I got into wood carving. So my senior year in high school, which I won't give the year, but it was a really, really long time ago. My senior year in high school, once I got to my last year, I had completed all of the requirements, like the required classes. So you could kind of take whatever you wanted. So my morning, I had 3 required classes, and in the afternoons, I could take 3 classes that were whatever I wanted. And so my youngest brother, Brian, had signed up for wood carving, and I was a senior and he was a freshman. And so I was like, oh, I'll take that. And I had never really used machinery really. So it was a little kind of scary being around all these power tools. But so my teacher, his name is Mr. Pemberthy, John Pemberthy. And his wife was actually an English teacher. Her name's Sue. And nicest people you'll ever want to meet. So Mr. Pemberthy was our teacher, and I'm telling you, like, I loved that class. And looking back, I probably wasn't the best carver because at first I was really afraid to use the bandsaw, like some of those, like the lathe, because of course the teacher has to scare you with stories of, you know, if you get your finger too close, you're going to cut it off, or don't get your hand in there, the whole machine will yank you right in, or crazy stuff like that. So I would sometimes get some of the boys to cut my wood out for me. But so I always stuck to carving little songbirds. So like realistic birds, like a house wren or a goldfinch. Because it was little and it was something I could, you know, concentrate on and complete. But what I was really good at was painting them, like to look really realistic. So I always carved little songbirds. That's basically all I carved. Kind of girly, I guess. But my brother, he like got adventurous. He would carve life-size fish, an owl with its wings spread, all out of wood. Amazing. And some of the things, the projects that the guys would do were just fantastic. So ever since then, like I have loved working with wood. There's something about having like a piece of wood in your hand and not knowing like what it's going to turn out to be. And so sure, you have like a shape. Like I just start with a piece of wood and I sketch roughly like an outline of what I want it to be. So if it's a bird or like the squirrel or whatever. So I always just draw like a side view outline. And so you cut it out, and so you just have this like kind of blocky shape. So you kind of have to just visualize in your mind, like what would this look like in 3D? Like, so you look at it from the front, you look at it from the side, the back, whatever. And what I really love about it is as you carve, to me, like the personality of what you're carving comes out in the wood. So sometimes as I'm carving, you might take out a piece of wood and you're like, oh, I really like how that looks, like that really shapes his face, and then you just do it to the other side. So every time you carve something, like it's never the same twice, and each piece has like its own like personality. And so I'll kind of show you an example. So I carved up a whole bunch of, so these are little crows, and so I'm gonna look for some patterns that I can stitch up that are quick so I can use them. But it's gonna be probably hard to see. Let me put a little thing. So these are the little crows. And but each one, like when you look at them, like their faces are different. So they're the same. They started out as the same, like I traced the same like outline shape, but as you carve, like their little faces and their bodies kind of take on their own, they're just like people kind of. And then the same thing with, I carved a whole bunch of little ducks. And so some of them, like the little heads, are just a little bit different shape, or their bill's a little bit different shape. And so it's so cute. Like I love when I finish, so here's like a whole bunch. And so when I have them all lined up like this drawing or whatever, like I look at them and I'm thinking, oh, they just look like a whole bunch of different people. Like, I don't know, that probably seems weird, but, and the same thing with like these like little chicken, like as I carve them, like I can kind of envision like what they're gonna be when they're done. So, and like, I just love having like the wood in your hand and working it. So, but that being said, so yes, over the years, so I have cut off this finger. I've cut the corner of this finger off in a bandsaw, but lucky with fingers, you have 10. So, you know, I'm not only gonna miss like 1/8 of my finger, I'm good. And, but when they always tell you around like equipment like that, always wear eye protection. I'm telling you so many times. Just the other day, the bandsaw cut, this is before it broke, but caught a piece of the wood and it snapped back and it ricocheted like right here off the bottom of my safety glasses, you know? And I was like, woo. Because once in a while I will take the chance, like if I'm thinking, oh, I'm just gonna cut one little piece off really quick and I don't put on my safety glasses. But when something like that happens, it reminds me, always wear your safety glasses. So yeah, so you always just have to be careful, but I still to this day use a technique that Mr. Penberthy taught me. So yeah, back to Mr. Penberthy, like he instilled like a lifelong love of wood carving like in me. And so I think that, I don't know if teachers ever realize or know that they do that. That for years and years, there's people like doing things that they taught you how to do, and you go out there and put it out in the world. So I'm always forever grateful that I took that class and that I learned everything that I did from Mr. Penberthy. But just the last thing I'll mention, that to this day, I still use this technique, and I don't have like, Mr. Penberthy's a bigger guy, so he has like bigger arms, and but when he carved, he would always hold his wood like against his body and use like a Dremel tool or whatever against, kind of using your body as leverage. And I still use that technique today, and I can't tell you how many times it's probably saved my fingers from getting bit by the Dremel. And the Dremel is like a tool. It has a really fast spinning metal bit, and if that bites you, you're gonna know it. So but yeah, so to this day, I still use that technique of holding it close, and I'm always here. So yeah, I've ruined a lot of clothes with getting that caught in my shirt, but yeah, so that's where my love of wood carving came from. And yeah, if I could do that all day, every day, I would. It's just a great love. So yeah, so that's how I got into it. So hopefully that didn't bore everybody to tears. But yeah, so hopefully next week, like I said, I'm going to probably run today. I have to go pick up Sammy's medicine, and I might as well just go buzz over there, and I'm going to buy 2. So I have a backup plan. So I'll have 2 blades. So coming up for this week, obviously March Madness will start. So let me know who y'all are rooting for below. So just in case I lose out, I can root for somebody else's team and cheer them on. But so this week I have to get back on track with my stitching schedule. So that means I need to catch up on my 1 a week, because now I think I'm almost 2 behind. So that's important to me to not let that get any farther behind. So I'll probably spend some time doing that. Obviously work on some more framing and see what comes in the mail from the needlework show. So hopefully I have a few things coming from that. And then I have to clean up my disaster of a house because it's been neglected for a few days. And then later this week, we're going to finish laying our wood floor. So yeah, busy week, but I'm still going to make sure that my stitching takes priority. But other than that, hope you have a great week. And yeah, comment below if you like watching March Madness in basketball, who you're rooting for, men's or women's. Also, like, what are you working on? I love being enabled. So obviously this isn't proof I can be swayed easily, right? Not very hard. Like, look. And then, yeah, so I'll be back next week, hopefully with a little bit more to show you. It's not so boring, but yeah, have a great week. Happy stitching, and bye.